Welcome to the Stan Simpson Show, a program about Connecticut people and compelling issues. Make it a point to drop it every week. In a span of 3 weeks, Connecticut will host performances by the incomparable Janet Jackson, the iconic Diana Ross, and the erratic Charlie Sheen. Hartford Courant Java columnist Mary Ellen Fillo stops in to dish about the big-name stars adding CT to their schedules. In our second segment, yes, it's March Madness, but there are those out there ready for some football. Spring practice has begun for the newly configured UConn Huskies. Current beat writer Desmond Connor gives us a lowdown on the new coach and what's happening inside the Husky locker room. Then we'll wrap things up with more sports. A look at Sunday's NCAA women's basketball matchup. It's teacher versus pupil, Gino versus Jen. UConn's Gino Auriemma takes on protege Jen Rosati. Hartford's Hawk. Can UConn win yet another national championship? Our sports insider Scott Gray joined us for a chat. But first, Charlie Sheen now is in Connecticut. He's alive and well, bringing his
Now we have
CT.
arrived. However,
yes,
I need to remind you about our discussion a week ago.
Yes. We both agreed that we thought he was
he going to cash in on this, or was he going to cash in on this?
Now, do you still believe he's playing the media? Because I also believe.
Absolutely he is.
He doesn't look good, though, Mary.
No, he doesn't look good.
He doesn't look good at all.
Well, no, he doesn't look good, but, heaven only knows how he's living. But he's got now a T-shirt line that's going to be available in J.C. Penney's and Burlington Coat Factory. How much more mainstream can you get? Yeah, I just think it's a riot. And look what he added. Boston Radio City Music Hall. Give me a break.
He's performing April 9th at the Oakdale here.
In Connecticut. He had I think it was Ticketmaster said those tickets for Chicago and Detroit fastest selling sellout ever.
From
what was it? 8 minutes
to $100 per pop. So,
so
what's
the guy
happening here? You'll see him fading out.
Us.
We don't have Charlie fatigue. We're still talking about it, but obviously we don't.
The only thing that's going to trip him up is April 9th is a long way away in terms of this kind of celebrity.
Yes.
So in 2 weeks, the whole world could change.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see if what is hot right now is going to be hot in April. And that's going to be the thing that's going to trip this up, I think.
What's the end game? At some point, a year from now, 2 years from now, they break bread and say, you know what? All's forgiven. Charlie's mended his fences. He's gotten some help. We're going to go back to 2.5 men and make the money.
Personally, I think that one of the cable stations, FX or somebody's going to develop a sitcom for him, and he's going to come back.
HBO or one of those guys.
He'll come back as his own guy with a new show and say, look, I told you,
he could be alive
I have tiger blood and I'm, what I am, and yeah.
So you're sticking to your premise. This is a marketing ploy.
I do think he's a sick man. There's definitely something, whatever the issues are, and he's definitely got issues. But as far as the strategy, who's having a breakdown and comes up with a T-shirt line? Really. It just doesn't make sense.
How about possible replacements, the whole 2.5 men situation?
Well, again, I hear Rob Lowe.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Rob Lowe?
John Stamos, I heard. I like the program. I think it will lose something without Charlie Sheen. Because I think that program, I think it was closer to reality than many of us thought.
He's playing himself,
He was playing himself, and you know what? Nobody can play you better than yourself can play.
Yeah.
So,
let's talk about other things happening now. Big stars coming in. Janet
we had
Jackson,
big stars
Diana Ross
we had
night on Wednesday night.
It was like you couldn't walk a block without hitting a movie star. Although I do remember seeing Janet Jackson when she performed at what is now the XL Center and was then the Civic Center back in the 80s. I remember going when she was, I guess she was a teenager probably then. So she does have some Connecticut, previous exposure here. But I have to give her credit again. Another woman who has hung on, recreated herself.
Yeah, branching out, doing the acting
And Diana Ross, she probably sets the bar for that. I think she turned 67 this month.
Unbelievable, right?
And, so
the irony, she discovers, so to speak, Michael Jackson, right? The whole feeling that she discovered Michael, Janet's brother. So there's sort of an irony they're here together.
It's a small world, but I think it also shows that either we have a very good market for these people to perform here, or these performers are either need to play more places in order to make the same kind of money they were making at a few places, or, of course the casinos, I think that's an animal unto itself when it comes to performing because, it is such a sophisticated venue. But I think that Diana Ross and the Bushnell, must have been so nice because that's such a beautiful place.
But that base, too, is long-standing, and it continues to grow.
Yeah,
I met him in Diana Ross. It'll be from young to old, right?
I checked tickets, and the first floor was all sold out, and most of at least the front half of the balconies and mezzanines were sold out. So it was a good selling show.
Yeah,
it was a good selling show.
I saw Mary J. Blige, months ago at the casino, and again, back to having that base. If you have a strong base, you can almost go anywhere. Tennessee, Connecticut, doesn't matter. Your base will follow you. And now social media is out there, and they're all working that. And
exactly.
So it becomes sort of, the key is maintaining and cultivating that base.
And everybody likes to see a star.
Yeah. So what's happening now under the Java front? You're out at all the hot parties. What's the next big hot party?
We finally had that grocery store opened in Hartford, and big cocktail party on opening night, and so that was really good.
Staying power, will that last? There's been a strong need for that?
I hope so. I mean, just to veer off to, food a little bit, but Kellyanne and Ryan Jones run a beautiful, beautiful restaurant in Terrafil. I have to give them credit. I mean, I think they've got 3 or 4 kids. To have the moxie to do this, I give them so much credit because that's a hard business.
Yeah, it is.
Any retail is a hard business. I'm wishing them well. I think, what do you figure? There's probably a base of 5,000 people who need to eat lunch or dinner in Hartford downtown proper. If you went to all the condos and the apartments and everything else, that's a pretty good base. If they got 10% of that every day, that's a nice, healthy business.
You got to work it, right? The name of the game still is customer service, right? And quality of your product. So many businesses fail because of 2 things, customer service and the product starts to go down.
I think everybody wants to see it succeed. I certainly hope so.
Now, on the TV front, what do you think is happening? What new you think is happening in TV this year? You're looking at hot shows, 2.5 Men. You have any shows you think that are sleeper or things that you think will become sort of the new?
Shows like Grey's Anatomy, some of these hospital shows, I think you're going to see them go. I think they've run their cycle. The reality shows are what's hot. I mean, I'll admit it, I am a reality show junkie.
Why? Tell me why.
I can't get home fast enough at night. I'm so happy for On Demand because when I miss something, I can,
really?
If I miss Survivor on a Wednesday night, I can go.
Now, I saw a hot one. I'm not a big reality show person, but I peeked in on Basketball Wives. Have you seen that one?
No, that wouldn't be one I would be looking at.
I went and watching those women just dish and go back and forth, and I was hooked. So I'm not a big reality person, but that would hook me.
But speaking of reality, Paul Vance chickened out.
Oh, no, for the reality, right? The Survivor. That's for his former state.
I knew he was.
The state spokesperson, state police spokesperson.
He chickened out.
Why?
He said it was because he thought that he should support 2 other troopers who were also trying out. I personally think he just...
Now, how old is Paul? Paul is a...
Oh, I wouldn't ask him that.
I'm surprised when I heard that he was going, that he's got to be pretty fit for that
but he didn't use the cut-in-line pass that he had when he finally arrived there. And I guess 2 troopers had already stood in line the proper way and were waiting their turn. And, well, that's what he's saying. He's saying he's going to throw his support behind them. But who does more reality shows than Paul Vance? I mean, every time there's anything, horrific happens, it's Paul who's out there, and I don't think there's more reality than that. So he's a star in his own right already. He likes
the camera, right? Again, he is the state police spokesperson who loves the media. So, all right, she's Mary Ellen Philo. Thanks for coming in to Dish with us.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to come back now with more of the Stan Simpson Show. Yes, it's March Madness, but are you ready for some football? That's right. Football. Spring practice has begun at UConn. The Current's Desmond Connor gives his insight about new coach Paul Pasquale and how this new team is responding to him. Don't even think about going away.